how to live out what it means, kind of the unique roles and responsibilities God has for us as a husband and a wife, and just what does that look like? Because the world says when you get married, you're entering into a contract. And my brothers who are lawyers will tell you, contract is basically designed because the two people that enter into it don't trust each other. I mean, that's why the contract exists. It exists to protect the rights of each person entering into the agreement so that each person has an exit strategy in case they feel like the other person isn't living up to their end of the bargain, or just for whatever reason they decide they want out. And when you get married, whatever state you're in, they can sign a pretty document, but really all it is a contract. It says, okay, here are the conditions, here are the terms, and when you get out, if you agree on who gets what, then you're out. If you think the other person isn't living up to their end, you can get out. If you're not happy, you can get out. If you find somebody that you like a little better, you can get out. And that's what a contract is. You break it and you move on. But when God created marriage, it wasn't just a legal document. It wasn't a contract. It was something more. It was something called a covenant, which is something altogether different. A covenant isn't about protecting your own rights. It's about laying down your own rights. A covenant is about having an exit strategy. It's about removing all exit strategy and saying, you know what, I'm in this. We're in this no matter what. And I'm going to do my very best because God has created this. He has made this possible. And out of respect and honor for Him and love and commitment for you, then I'm all in. I'm all in. And that's the way that God wants it to be. Because that's the way He is for us. Covenant for us was really shown with the blood that Jesus spilled on the cross to pay for us, to bring us into a relationship with God. And it wasn't anything we did to deserve. And in marriage, we can get so easily into this trap of thinking like, I'm entitled to this, or, I deserve this because I did that. That's a transaction-based relationship. That's not marriage. A transaction-based relationship works when you start saying, you know what, you spent this amount of money on your thing, and so I'm entitled to spend that same amount of money on my thing. In fact, I don't even have to tell you about it. I just do it. Or you spent this amount of time doing this thing that you wanted to do, and I didn't like it, and so I'm gonna take the same amount of time and I'm gonna go do something I want to do. Maybe I won't even tell you about it because you're not the boss of me and I can do what I want. Or you know what, I did this for you. I cleaned the house for you, so you better, as soon as you get home, do this for me. And we start making our relationship transaction-based. It's no longer a marriage. In fact, the only transaction-based relationship is prostitution. And what God has in mind for marriage is something much, much better than that. But it's also one where we've got to go against that selfish human nature that all of us have and say, you know what, I'm willing to lay down my rights, my expectations, and I'm going to be all into this. Because, and again, this principle, it's a difficult one to swallow, but I truly believe it's what the Bible teaches, that our responsibility as a wife, our responsibility as a husband, to do that to the best of our ability has absolutely nothing to do with what our spouse does to reciprocate. And I know that's hard. I know that's so hard to be in this situation. We'll talk specifically about that. When you're in this situation, you're like, man, I'm the only one that's in this, and I'm giving it all I got, and they're not doing anything in return. God is always going to honor you for doing what's right. He's always going to honor you for just doing everything in your power to make things work and bring Him glory in the process, even when you're married to somebody who's not. But when we start getting into this trap of saying, well, you're not doing your part, and so I'm not going to do mine. Or if she would just do this for me, then I would start doing that for her. But it's like a control game. It's like, well, if he's not going to do that, then I'm not going to do this. Well, if she's going to do that, then I'm going to do this. And you just both dig your heels in and you become adversaries instead of partners. Man, I've seen that happen so many times. And it takes one person being willing to swallow their pride and stop the fighting and saying, you know what? I'm going to forget about what I'm owed. I'm going to forget about what I'm entitled to, or what, my friends that are just trying to look out for me might say, oh, just leave him, just leave her. And I'm going to trust God on this, and I'm going to say, I'm all in. And I'm going to be the best husband, the best wife I can be, especially on those days that I don't feel like they deserve it. And that's hard. There's nothing in our natural human nature that makes that possible. But God, in His infinite love, when we surrender ourselves to Him, will make that possible. And He'll work in us and through us. He'll bring transformation, usually to our marriage, but always He'll bring transformation to our heart.